Hey everyone, so I just added a new position to my portfolio, which I think has a ton of upside over the next year. So in this video, we're going to go over what stock I'm talking about, how I'm planning on investing in them to get the maximum return, and how I think this company will do on the other side of the election. So the stock which is up on the screen right now is the GEO Group, and this is a stock I talked about both in my stocks to buy if Biden wins and stocks to buy if Trump wins. So definitely check those two videos out. And for anyone that doesn't know, GEO Group operates private prisons in the United States. So this is a hotly contested topic in politics where you have Trump in favor of them and you have Joe Biden saying he would abolish the private prison system. And go back to my Joe Biden video where I talk about how that's not really likely, for a number of reasons. In all likelihood, this company will still be in business a couple of years down the line. Now, there's a couple reasons I entered into this position now. First of all, this is before the election. I'm filming this on the day of the election, and just today I entered into this position. So I think if we do see a Trump win, I think the options premiums and the stock prices for this stock will jump instantly. And so I wanted to get in before potentially that happens. And second of all, they just released their third quarter results and they came out very good, better than I expected. So if you take a look how GEO Group did in quarter three, they had positive net income, adjusted funds from operation, which is basically cash flow for a REIT, 67 cents per share. And then they updated the full year guidance to around 107 to 109 per diluted share in net income. And right now the stock's trading at under $10. So this is a great valuation for this company. And like I said, I think it's been beaten down because of the election and political fears, but I think that will subside on the other side of this election, and I think GEO Group will rally from that point. In addition to this, management said they're cutting the dividend in order to help pay down debt, which I do think is a good idea, as this company does have a lot of debt, and they're also paying a huge dividend. The yield is 15% right now, so I think cutting that to pay down the debt and provide more liquidity for the company is a good idea in the long run. So this is from the earnings call transcript. Just one quick thing I want to point out, talking about the debt repayment. This year to date, they paid down 80 million in debt during 2020, and by the end of this year they want to pay down 100 million and pay down an extra 50 million after that to help with the debt pay down. So in one of my first videos talking about this stock, I said what the management should do is cut the dividend to pay down the debt. And even though they didn't cut the dividend completely, they still are taking some of that money and using it towards debt repayment, which I do think is a good idea. So for that reason, I entered into a position in this company. Now, another thing to look at the current liquidity for this company, their debt to EBITDA ratio is over a 6. So while this isn't perfect, it could obviously be a lot higher than this. I think they're currently bringing in enough EBITDA to satisfy their debt. And as I've said, this company's customers are state governments, federal governments, and governments of other countries. And like I've said, they're not going to miss their payments anytime soon. So even though this debt coverage ratio isn't ideal, it is sufficient. And given the reliability of their clients, I don't think liquidity will be a problem for this company. So I didn't actually buy GEO stock. Instead, I used an option because I'm not planning on holding the stock super long term. I just want to take advantage of how I think the stock will react after this election is over and there's no more political fears for the next few years. So what I did is I went out to the January 2022 expiration date. And so that gives me over a year to have the stock move as a reaction to after the election. So right now the stock's trading at just under $10. And what I did is I went ahead and bought the $13 strike price, so slightly out of the money. And what I like about this company is that the option premiums aren't very expensive. So I got into this for $130. Right now it's up to 140, so I'm already up on the position even though I just bought it a couple of hours ago. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the potential for how much this option could be worth in a year's time. All right, so if we bought one of these contracts, we can analyze this trade and see what will happen in the different situations. And so as of expiration, the break even is around $14.40, right? It's the price of the stock plus the premium you pay. So as long as the stock is above $14.40, you will be profitable with this options trade, which I am very confident that the stock will be above there. It would be a 40% move in a year, and I think the stock will move, potentially a lot more than that. So in terms of a price target, where I think the stock could be right now, I think between $20 and $25 is reasonable given the valuation and the optimism that will go into these companies after the election is over. So if we take a look at what the options would be worth if that happened, we take a look at $20, this option would be around $600. Remember, you're paying $140 for it. And if we go even more to what would happen if this was around $25, this option would be worth over $1,000. And so that would be for just around 150% increase in the stock price, which I think is very possible. So I think there's a lot of upside for this stock. Obviously, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this, and there is potential to lose 100% of the investment, right? If the stock doesn't get over $14.40, the option will be worthless at expiration. So that is the risk with what I'm doing. Now, along with the company fundamentals, one of the reasons I'm bullish on GEO Group is because every time we have a presidential election, the stock tanks on political fears, but after that we see a rally. And this has happened the last two elections. If you look at this chart, this big drop in 2016 was right before the election. And just after the election, we rallied from under $10 a share all the way to over $30 a share in under 1 year. And then the election before that, 2012, before the election, sitting at right under $10, and just a year later sitting at $25. So those are the types of moves you can see with this stock. Once the political fears are gone, investors aren't scared anymore. All they see is the huge dividend and the security of this company. Right now, their dividend is 14%. So like I said, a lot going for the stock. And if those fears over the political risk are gone, then I think the stock has a lot of upside. Now, if we take a look at what the stock has done recently, it's rallied pretty hard the last few days, going from $8 almost up to $10. And I saw a chart a couple of days ago, and I tried to find it, but I couldn't, showing how in the 2016 election, the private prison stocks, GEO and CoreCivics, which is their main competitor, those stocks rallied around a week before the election started, which showed that they were starting to price in the potential for a Trump win. And so that is something we could potentially be seeing right now, where we saw GEO rally, and we can also see CoreCivic stock, which is their main competitor in the private prison space. It's basically a duopoly. This stock has also rallied hard from $6 to $7.50. And if we also take a look at what sectors have been performing best in the market over the past week, if we take a look at 1 week performance, the two best industries, industrials and basic materials, which are things like oil and gas. And so I don't know, to me, this sort of looks like the market is pricing in the potential for a Trump win. I think this is a lot different than, a month ago, a couple of months ago. No one was expecting Trump to win, but I think now the market's starting to price in a possibility, even if it's not likely, a possibility of Trump winning. So in terms of the election on GEO stock, like I said, I don't think there's going to be a huge difference regardless of the result of the election. I don't think if Joe Biden gets into office, he's going to abolish private prisons in his first year. And so because of that, that's why I see upside regardless of who wins the election. Now, that being said, I think it would be extra bullish for this company if we do see Trump win another term. So I will be doubling down on this position if we see Trump win, because I think in that scenario, at these prices, upside is extremely likely. So that's it for my thesis on this position. In terms of position sizing, not a very large percentage, just around 1.5% of the entire portfolio. So I'm keeping it small for now. Again, I will double that if we do see Trump win. And that's it. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Just want to update everyone on what I was doing with my own portfolio. And I'm going to get this video out today. Right now it's 5 o'clock. So the first polls close in a couple of hours. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. And maybe we won't even know for a couple of days or weeks in the worst case. So that's it for this video. If you like the info, hit the like button to help out my channel. If this is your first time watching, subscribe to the channel right now. And so that's it for now. I'll catch you on the other side of this election.